think are John Cena's final opponents? Now we're heading into Backlash, and we know we're gonna get one last time John Cena versus Randy Orton. Do you think that for this match itself, that this would be the final Randy Orton match? It is in St. Louis. They've done a pretty good job of building it. I kind of feel like you could be doing a lot more with Randy versus Cena. So I'm not sure on the outcome. We'll find out at Backlash. Maybe they are going to extend it beyond just Backlash and they do it maybe down the road again. Because WWE has done this before where they might do this feud right now. You can kind of table it for a bit and then they could circle back to it, you know, at Clash or do it in Saudi one more time. I'm not sure, and do like a last man standing match. Really depends. I kind of feel like they could do more out of this. And we'll see how this match actually turns out. And I know for all of us, we have different wish lists and names that we want John Cena to feud with. I'm trying to go with more of what I think realistically could happen, and I don't even know so much about the order of these things, but giving you guys some names. So after Backlash, there's Saturday night's main event where John Cena is scheduled to appear. I don't think he has a match at Saturday night's main event, probably just a promo to just talk trash, maybe calls out his next opponent. Because for the next PLE after that, we're looking at Money in the Bank. I think that this is a good opportunity to do, well, a couple of different matches, possibly. I think you could do, what I like to see is CM Punk. Now, I don't know if that would work so much because Punk is so heavily involved right now with the Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Paul Heyman story. Really feels like they want to do that over there, but if you're gonna, I don't know, like unless they do a draft, that's what I could see happening, where I've been kind of like, oh, you could get this match to work. Punk has been taken out by Seth and Braun Breaker already, right? And I think that they could go back to that match at some point and team up with Roman or whatever, but I think in the meantime you could have a draft where you end up with Cena, Cody, and Punk all on the same brand. And if you do that, then you can get into the match with Cena. So I one of the options for Money in the Bank for me is going to be CM Punk, just for nostalgia's sake and to be able to have that match. You only got so many shots here, and you can't just do 6 months of Cody Rhodes, right? If you don't get Punk at Money in the Bank because maybe he's tied up with Braun, Roman, Seth, and all of that, I think that another opponent could be AJ Styles. Now, AJ's on my list in general to have a match with because I love their series that they had years ago, and I want them to do it again at some point before Cena retires. Money in the Bank can really work. I think Cena needs an opponent that is not Cody Rhodes. At Money in the Bank, I mean, they could do round 2 or the final match, one final time of Randy Orton and Cena in like a last man standing match. Or you could do Punk, or you could do AJ Styles. Now, as we fast forward and we get into the next crop of PLEs, we're gonna get some SmackDown, some Raw appearances as we go. And we don't necessarily know if there's a draft because I feel like that could impact some of these picks. But once we get to SummerSlam, I think that's when things really need to start heating up for Cena's whole story. And I think that with this heel turn, it can't, I know it's gonna boil down to Cody, like it's in my gut. I just feel like it's all going to come down to Cody Rhodes being the guy that ends John Cena's heel run, because they want to have that moment, and Cody kind of needs that rematch, right? I think that it should be everyone coming after John Cena, another opponent of Cena from his past, the likes of Styles and Punk. But once we get to SummerSlam, I think that's when they're going to start really heating up the Cody story again. Now we know before, coming up pretty soon, Cody Rhodes is going to be on SmackDown, and we'll see what Cody has to say. Maybe he'll be disgruntled and just do a promo, he'll call out Cena, we don't know. But I think once you get to SummerSlam, what I think they could be doing is setting up a tag team match or a handicap match. But my pick for SummerSlam is going to be John Cena and Travis Scott team up together. This gives Cena kind of a break, so he's not just doing the PLE matches one-on-one, having these, 10, 15, 20-minute matches, good or bad. I think that you get kind of a break and you get more of the celebrity blockbuster match at SummerSlam. It's the first 2-night SummerSlam. They're going to want to make it a big deal. So with that, I think you get Travis Scott, Cena teaming up to take on Cody Rhodes and a partner of his choosing, or Cody in a handicap match against Cena and Travis Scott. I just feel like you're going to get almost a best of 3 or 4 series with Cody, where it's not going to happen like every single week. They'll take little breaks here and there. But by SummerSlam, this thing is going to heat up a lot more. If you get the tag team match, then it kind of closes a little bit of the chapter of Cody, Travis Scott, all of that. Who could Cody team with? Well, you guys comment below and let me know. I'm kind of thinking you could reach into his pocket and you can grab Bad Bunny. Make him come back to WWE. You need another celebrity out there that could kind of go head to head with Travis Scott. I don't know who else you can kind of do that would really make sense. Not gonna throw Logan Paul in the mix there. That didn't work for me, brother. That's why I kind of felt like a handicap match would work, where Cody will do anything he can to get his hands on John Cena, and it would be non-title. That means it doesn't have to be the big main event. It could main event night 1 of SummerSlam, and night 2 could be saved for the big title match. Maybe it's a world title match, or maybe it's a Punk match, Roman match, who knows? But that's why I feel like you could do a handicap match night 1 and leave some intrigue in there, and you could have Cody lose. Or Cody wins, and he wins in the handicap match because he beats Travis Scott, and then that can set up a future match. Then as you fast forward, you get to Clash in Paris. This one is like, we're getting towards the end of Cena's run. You got a couple of shows left, and we're not always gonna get matches, we're gonna get appearances like John Cena has talked about. Clash in Paris, I personally wanna see AJ Styles. I mentioned him earlier that he could be at Money in the Bank, but I wanna see that because of the reaction AJ got when he went up against Cody Rhodes. The building went insane for him. And again, AJ is just one of those names where I'm like, I really wanna see this match one more time. Does it fit into the timeline and everything of the Cody story arc? No, but maybe it's something to just help, I don't know, let it all breathe and break off from each other for a bit, because you can't keep doing Cody Cena in variations all the way to the end. I think people will get very tired of it, because we would have had the Mania match, which is meh for people, and you then maybe have another match at SummerSlam and another match coming up towards the end. So I don't think you can do it at Clash, but we know that Cena and Cody are advertised for Clash in Paris. Maybe it's a promo, you know, look at Elimination Chamber. You had Cody coming out at the end after John Cena won Elimination Chamber. They did a whole angle there with the heel turn. Clash could be like that, where there is no match for Cena, for Cody. It's more of like the contract signing. Or The Rock does show up at Clash and they got all the characters in the ring. You never know. But I would like to see it one more time and do the AJ Styles John Cena match. It would just be really cool to see, and especially with that crowd. There's Crown Jewel and Survivor Series. And again, we don't know that Cena and the Saturday Night's Main Event at the very end of the year, but we don't know that John Cena is going to be at Crown Jewel, for example. But if he is, that could be when you do something like a contract signing between him and Cody for Survivor Series, because the dates start to get a little bit tighter in there. You could substitute into a different opponent if Cena is going to wrestle. I think someone like LA Knight would be awesome. Maybe he just gets on the same brand as John Cena, and it's not a big storyline, story beat you want to put in there. But again, if the idea is potentially having all of these other characters around Cena that are coming after him for turning on everyone, being the bad guy. LA Knight is a modern guy of old who has had that moment with John Cena. Cena was a good guy, you put over LA Knight. And you might want to be able to do that once again. But now you can have LA Knight just come out, huge pop of the crowd, get them in the center of the ring together, cutting a promo against each other. I really would just love to be able to see that. And you could get away with that match at a Crown Jewel. It could be non-title. It could be Cody as the special guest referee. You could do something neat there. But for me, it's a lot of just getting the promos between Cena and LA Knight. Now, another name I will not forget, just because it could happen on a random Raw, SmackDown they advertise where Cena is going to wrestle, or maybe even it's Saturday night's main event at some point. But it's R-Truth. I think they gotta pay off the R-Truth story. We're coming to a close. At some point between now and the end, you gotta have the R-Truth moment in the ring, hopefully a match so they can come together. And you could have John Cena. John Cena would have to win, but man, it would just be so fun if R-Truth got a roll-up random victory over John Cena in a non-title match or something. Just something wild, and that just pays off that entire arc that's been going on forever. Now, as we get to Survivor Series, again, I told you, it's just, we don't know how this thing's gonna lay out, so I can't predict much here. But Survivor Series seems to be the end. Yes, there is a Saturday night's main event at the end of the year, and that would presumably be John Cena's last appearance, or they're gonna do some kind of house show. I can feel them doing like a ruthless aggression show at Madison Square Garden. Something, I think they're at the Garden towards the end of the year, and maybe they want to brand something that's like totally John Cena. But I do think that they can have Cena lose the belt at Survivor Series as the final payoff. And what do you do there? To me, you have the Cody Rhodes match. You have the big long build that you're doing for the next several months. You've had maybe a match at SummerSlam. You've had a contract signing. You may be getting to the third and final match, which is Survivor Series. So you have Mania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. So you've got all three in there in the big chapters. And then it all culminates. You get all the big shenanigans though. You kind of redo WrestleMania. It's going to be a stadium show with Survivor Series, and that's where I think you get Cody winning the belt. He can beat John Cena clean with no interference, with no Travis Scott, because that did not go over well with many people. Or you do have Travis Scott come out, and then the crowd goes crazy again. You add more heat to it. Cody can get rid of Travis Scott altogether, and it's almost like a redo of WrestleMania, but Cody doesn't make the mistakes this time. You could also then maybe have The Rock show up, and actually show up at Survivor Series, to try and get involved and take down Cody Rhodes, only for Cody to beat The Rock, to smack him out of the ring, give him a crossroads, whatever. But I don't know if you're gonna get all the other characters involved to like help Cody almost like Mania 40 all over again. I don't think you want to redo that, but you probably want some kind of payoff with The Rock, maybe. But you know, the way things have gone, you're never gonna see The Rock. You just see him on a random Raw. But regardless, I can see Survivor Series being the payoff. They build it as like Cody needs to beat Cena or else the time is up, so to speak. And if Cody can't get it done by Survivor Series, well, the clock goes to 0, as Cena has talked about. And I think that's how they'll build these things, is just counting down the clock and the dates so that you get to Survivor Series and it's almost the end and it's kind of like his last shot. So then Cody captures the championship, gets it back before WrestleMania. However, I can see a little bit of a twist even there. So John Cena loses the belt, but he might have a few more dates after, kind of like an aftermath. And we see what happens. Maybe he gets a little glimpse of becoming face again. Maybe he just goes and has one final goodbye promo, and that's the end. You never know. But at the end of Survivor Series, to make the next leg of the season going into Rumble and WrestleMania, I think that you could get a cash in. Whoever wins Money in the Bank, the best story arc for me is going to be Cena loses to Cody Rhodes at Survivor Series. Cody is triumphant only for that person's music to hit, and they come in and they cash in on Cody Rhodes. I personally would love it to be Drew McIntyre. Drew spends this whole year in the background going from US title division, building himself up and getting to that point once again, and have him win Money in the Bank and save that briefcase. Cody gets the belt for like a minute, and now you've set up another story for Cody Rhodes. Cody to me is better chasing. It's more intriguing than just holding the belt through to WrestleMania once again. We've done it. To change it up, maybe Drew McIntyre goes into WrestleMania 42 as champion, and it could be Drew versus Cody. It could be Drew versus Cody versus Punk because of all that history. And maybe Punk is the one who wins the Royal Rumble, or Drew loses it before WrestleMania. I don't know. And you could get Punk, Cody, kind of my picks for what you would do for a main event of WrestleMania 42. Because you have to end the whole John Cena story. But you got to do it in a big way that's going to help elevate everything else in my eyes and not just turn it into a rock fest. And Triple H and creative really need to nail this whole John Cena story that we have for the next several months. But who do you want John Cena's final opponents to be for this year? Who are we missing? What should they really do? Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and have a great day. See ya.